Hi, my name is Casey Browning and I'm the owner-designer at Retro Active Arcade. And today we're going to show you how to put together one of our bar top kits. This bar top kit is a Fat Boy. We have two different sizes, the Mini-Me and the Fat Boy. The Mini-Me supports a 19-inch monitor and the Fat Boy supports a 22-inch widescreen monitor. Everything that you see here is all you really need to build one of these machines. I will be showing you the easy intermediate way, and I will show you the expert way on how to put it together as well with some air nailers and our clamps and such. These things are designed so that you could build them in your living room using household weights, household tools, that type of a thing. There might be a couple little things that you have to buy, but they'll be fairly inexpensive. If you have a shop and you have these tools, they're definitely recommended, but surely not needed. All of our kits are cut on this machine behind me. And I'm hoping to alleviate any of your questions with this video. You'll be able to see how fast one of these things will actually get put together. It should take you anywhere between half hour and 45 minutes, and then you might have to do some stuff afterwards that'll take you a couple minutes, but it takes us on average about 20 minutes or so to build one of these machines in the shop. So I'm going to part this out, show you everything that's needed that comes with the package, and we'll start building. Okay, so when you unpack your kit, you should get something that looks a little like this, or a lot like this. Basically, just make sure that you have all your parts based off of the instructions. Your profiles are going to be labeled right and left, obviously. Make sure that you have all the little cleats slash batons, they're called batons, in the instructions. And make sure that you have your little key and hardware bag. That's definitely a big must. And for tools wise, make sure you got your rag, rubber mallet. You're going to definitely need some glue. The hammer is kind of optional and works with the chisel. Sometimes you have to work with the chisel a little bit to make stuff fit, but usually it's a precision cut, so you should be good to go. Make sure you keep a little bit of water in a spray bottle or somewhere to dip your cloth just to wipe off any excess glue off more of your fingers than the material, but you're going to want to keep that nice and clean. I put out some stuff like the nail gun, and I'm going to bring out the clamps later for the advanced users. But all in all, what you see is what you should get. Okay, so we're going to get started. These are the first pieces that I'm going to use. You're going to use your right side profile. You're going to use letter H in your instructions and your letter M. This is the bottom, this is the back. And then we'll start putting in pieces away, so you'll kind of get the gist of it all. Yeah, so to apply the glue, don't get too crazy with it. Just fill all your spots with enough, kind of go back and forth so you get an even spread. You're gonna have to get your fingers dirty. If you want to wear gloves, go ahead. If not, doesn't really matter. This stuff will just dry off and peel off your hand anyway. Shouldn't be a big deal. Don't get too much because you don't want it to ooze right out of there. When it does ooze a little bit, that's a good sign because you're actually putting enough pressure on it to get a nice tight seal between the two. But if you put too much, you're going to be spending a lot of your time cleaning a bunch of stuff. If you go all out here, you do it fast enough before the glue dries. It'll take about 10 to 15 minutes for this glue to kind of set on its own without touching anything so that it's workable, but yeah, all in all, you'll have a lot of time. So, first piece, gonna want to always keep this T-mold edge that's here. You're gonna always want that facing to the outside of the cabinet because that's where your plastic T-mold is gonna go. And all the cut sides that are in there, like you saw, they're all going to be facing to the inside. So, boom, done. One piece. Spin it around here. Kind of see. Second piece is going to go just like that. Now before I go any further, I'm going to take this out because I don't want it to set just yet. You probably want to put glue on this edge here so that it touches as well. But I'm going to put my cleats in right now, or batons that are in the instructions. just so that you get a good idea of what's involved for those to hold them in. Oh, too much glue there, so you want to watch yourself. You don't want to get it all over the place. On the inside it doesn't really matter, but you know, still want to have a nice professional look if you can. But that's just me. So once you put the cleats in, you see I can let it go. It'll hold, do its kind of thing. If you want, if you're not using any nail guns and you're using this in your living room or dining room or in your garage, shed, whatever you're going to do this on, make sure that the surface is hard and flat. You need a level surface for it, for one. But you can let that sit and dry. If you're going to do it in this way, try not to put the glue in places that you're not going to get. You don't want to get ahead of yourself and let that dry and set up before you get on. So just do one piece at a time. Let it sit for 5-10 minutes and go from there. The advanced way, come in, throw in some nails. I'm only using 1 1/4 inch nails on these, so it won't go through to the other side. If you damage the other side, it's almost impossible to fix. Other than that, I'm going to move forward with my next couple pieces, and then we'll show you and go ahead from there. All right, so on to the next stage. As you see, we got the back on. I did put a bead of glue back here. I had to chisel this edge out here, so I mean, I'm going to look on my file, so you should probably have to do that again. But if you do, that's what the hammer and chisel is actually for, just to notch out the little ends there once in a while. Sometimes they move on the CNC, or just these pieces of wood or whatever always come in different thicknesses, so there's always a reason. I'm going to move on with the other cleat for the back there. So pop that bad boy in right there, and that'll support the sides and stuff. As you see, this can kind of move. You can either clamp this down with little mini clamps if you have that, to stay away from buying a nailer if you don't have one. Other than that, you know, go ahead with nailing it, or you can just hold it for 5-10 minutes. You can put some pressure on it, do whatever you need. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes for every one of these things to dry up enough to actually hold and move on. If it's a little out of square, you can kind of compensate for it later. I always like using the nailer because it just gives that much better support. It's more professional on our end for what we sell, but for purposes at home, you're not really going to need it so much. So apply glue in the front for your admin panel. I apply for this for our other baton slash cleat. We can move on to the admin panel. Is going to be part B. So grab that. Remember, as I was saying before, you're going to need your T-mold cut side to face outside. So in this case, you're going to reference the T-mold cut towards the bottom of the machine, like so. So it just sits in there. Let that dry up. Should level off to all your other pieces. And then grab your 6-inch baton and you put that in. Just kind of give it a little bit of a shake. When you do this, just a little trick or whatever is, sometimes these grooves are a little wider than the actual pieces. They will be exact to this, but since this is a different type of wood, it comes in a different type of thickness, even though they're all specifically 3/4. It doesn't work out that way. So push the baton right to the front edge of the line. And you want to do that with anything that doesn't kind of line up properly. You want to push it towards the outside of the machine so that you get its full capacity. Right now what I'm going to do is move on to the speaker. So a little bit of hints on your speaker connector. That's what this is here for your speaker panel. Ideally, if you have speakers already, or you buy our speakers or get them from anywhere else, it doesn't matter. You're going to want to mount these first, just because you only have a 3-inch gap here to mount it afterwards. So just kind of give you a heads up to put those speakers and attach them there. It also says it in the instructions as well. Just nice to kind of see what kind of speaker you might be putting in. These are 8 ohm unshielded. We have a couple different kinds, but these are the only ones that'll work for this specific machine. If you're going to put computer ones in there, just make sure they're going to fit in the gap between here and here, or if you can mount them back here so the sound kind of shoots out. But if you mount them back here, your monitor is going to be taking up some of that spot. So just make sure that whatever you're using is going to work first. I'm going to put these on right now, and then I'll show you how to install the rest. Okay, so now I got the speakers mounted. Obviously you want your outputs to face the same way, because you don't want them to go opposite of each other. Anyway, this is going to slide right in the top there, like so. So that's your end product. That's what it's going to look like. I'm just going to prep it up right now, and I'm going to put some glue on, get her all going. I'll show you how fast she should be. A little bit on there too. I'm going to do the top part as well, just kind of get ready for everything. As you can see, I'm putting a little too much glue. You don't necessarily want to do that. I'm just doing it just to kind of show you what not to do. Yeah, that's it. Try to keep wiping your finger off. Obviously, you don't want that glue on there the whole time anyway, but you don't want it to go on the parts as well. This being melamine, when that dries, it almost just cracks right off, so it's not a huge deal if you let it dry on there, but it's still a pain to hunt it all down and find it. You'll find it, you know, a couple days later kind of thing when you're playing. If you hear that crunch, that's sometimes a good thing. Sometimes not a good thing. So you don't have to go ahead there. I'm just doing this because I have the nailer. Just do one piece at a time. If you're not, you're going to want to hold it, sit here for a couple minutes, that kind of thing. If you can find something to clamp it, even if you just clamp this piece and this piece together, it'll hold itself upright, and then you're good to go. If you don't, then you'll have to stand there for a little while. Watch some TV. If you're in the living room. So, get a little glue on there, a little bit of water, wipe it all down. Make a huge mess. The other thing that you can do instead of nails is you can do screws, but unless you're kind of somebody who knows how to use tools really well, I wouldn't strongly suggest it. That's why I didn't mention at the beginning of the video. Method to the madness, I guess. And keep making more of a mess. It's going to be on the vapor reel or something here. But the reason why is because you're going to have to countersink your screws and drill pilot holes and everything. If you're confident with that and you have the tools to do that, by all means, that'll make it even stronger than a nailer. All right, moving on to the top piece. This one here, I won't really be able to nail it because I can't get in there for this. So what I'm going to do on my end is I'm going to put a little bit of glue on my piece. It's going to go this way. And I'm going to put my baton in there like so. And I'm going to line it up and I'm going to nail it as is, so that it has something to support it while it sits on its own. You'll find that if you're doing piece by piece on these, it will take you a little bit longer than the, half hour, 45 minutes, but still doesn't take that long to put it all together. Just remember, this is another piece that has that T-mold facing outwards. Just because I said outwards, there's T-mold on one side, you want it facing the back on this, in this case. I'm also going to try to fit my nailer in here to hold it up so that I can move forward. All right. So, in moving on, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up the top and put everything on. At this point, what somebody who doesn't have these tools can do is you take the other profile, which is your left side, and you're going to want to put it on the top and use a weight. So I'm going to show you how to do that in about 2 seconds here. Just got to grab everything and get it all ready, and we'll be right back. Okay, so all I did for this here was I just took and dry fit this back on. So this is your left panel. All I did was just set it on top, line everything in, and I took a nice light little rubber mallet and just lightly tap it into place. Don't ever hit this stuff really hard. It should just fit together nicely. You should not have an issue with it whatsoever. If you're really fighting with it, you probably have a chunk or a notch, or one of the pieces isn't notched properly for whatever reason. At that point, you're going to just have to take your chisel and hammer and kind of chisel it out and see where that issue is. At this point, what I like to do is just go out just before all that glue has had a chance to dry or anything, and wipe it off. Now, it will kind of scrape off if it's dry with like your fingernail, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal to get all that stuff off. Now, if you're doing the weight thing without your without the tools that I've been using, you just put the weight on there, leave it there for up to 2 to 4 hours to be on the safe side. This glue needs about 2 hours to set. After that, at that point, what you do is take your weight off, take this off, flip it over, put all your glue down, put your cleats in where you want them, except for the little mini ones for now, because you're going to have some place to adjust, but put the console one and the back door one on, and then you can flip this project over on top of it and then line it up again with the glue in all your grooves to put in like you had normally, and put the weight back on for another 2 to 4 hours. It's best to leave it sit overnight. Any cleats that you have like this, after this is all placed in there, you can put the cleats in there and let them sit overnight as well. Just make sure you really squish that glue out so there's no gaps or air holes in it. At that point, you'll be pretty much where I am at now, but I'm just going to go forward with the rest of it. Thanks. Okay, so as you can see, I got a couple clamps on this already. I've flipped it over. I've got my batons inside on the other side, on my left side. Everything's ready to go, but I'm going to throw a clamp on the front here just so you guys could kind of see the way the clamps go on. If you have a lot smaller clamps on that, that's fine. You'll probably just need 4, 2 up top, 2 in the back, or sorry, 2 on the bottom. Scooch behind here. So yeah, I will let this sit for probably about 2 hours before we move on to any other steps. But at this point, you can do things like you can dry fit your console top that goes up here. Make sure that you got a nice good fit. You can also check your back door and stuff as well. If they're off by quite a bit at this point, at least with the glue and stuff being wet, you can kind of reset the whole thing. So you can take this apart, move it, figure out what's going on, because sometimes if you work with this, it won't set in 100%. So if you put in the control panel and you got a big gap on one side and not on the other, and it's out of square, then you have to double check your wood to make sure that it's sitting inside the groove that's provided for it. Other than that, we'll move on to putting some of the other pieces together real quick and dry fitting that door and stuff. After everything's dry, I'll show you exactly how that's going to work. And then we'll go over some of the other products that work perfect with this machine, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're moving on to the next step here, just in case I didn't say the letters of the top 2 pieces of last time. You're going to be looking at your speaker grill, which is piece G to add on and C for the top there. Now we're going to be moving on to the back door assembly. As you can see, I've opened up the hardware pack that it comes with. I'll tell you what all these are all about now. There should be 4 kind of small decking screws that are about 1.25 inches long. Those 4 screws are for these 4 holes. These are pieces E and pieces F. So I'll go ahead and I'll start putting those together for you. Now you can use a drill, or you can use a screwdriver for this. It's only 4 holes, so it shouldn't be too bad, and this particle board is not too hard to drill into by hand with a screwdriver. But you want to flatten out your glue. Make sure you don't have lots of bubbling and excess underneath there because you do want a nice flat thing there. This is going to be a high traffic piece, especially if you're going to be taking the door on and off, but this is what supports the door to help lock it in to its place. You can eyeball these out, it's not a huge deal, but you want to try to get it even within the groove that's cut out for it. Put these bad boys in. Crank that up. Now you notice that I didn't go from like one side to the other. I started kind of in the middle, then I went to that one, then I went to the outside. Sometimes if you just go and you go here and you're off by a little bit, and then you go here and you go here, you're just going to multiply the amount that you're off by the time you get up here, and it's not going to be square. I just make sure that it's butted up right to the edge of where it's cut there. Make it work. Now at this point you can dry fit your door and everything, so flip it around. Put it on, and dry fit her into place. If something doesn't fit, then you can find out where and you can start chopping away on it. Just make sure that no matter what you do, you don't do anything to ruin the outside finish of this, because if you get any chips on the edges and stuff, you're not going to be able to repair them. The only honest repair that you can do is a black Jiffy marker. I'm going to get this all set up and we'll move on to the next step. I'll put the lock on as well so you can see how all that works, and we'll dry fit the monitor mount and the console in the next step. Okay, so as you can see, I put the lock in. There is a piece that'll be left over. It's just your dressing piece. You're gonna have it flush there. The way it's cut inside, the measurement doesn't account for this, and you don't need it anyway. I always throw those away. After the lock's installed, should be good to go. Place your door in place, lock, and ready to rock. Now I advise, if you can, to not drag it around on the ground and stuff. As I mentioned before, you don't want to wreck these edges, and the edges can be fairly weak if you drag them across hard surfaces. Now, with the monitor mount, you've got just rail system going across for your basic VESA mount for any monitor. If your monitor doesn't have a mount, you might be a little SOL on the back there. You might have to drill something in or find a different way to mount. If that's the case, what I usually do is cut some batons or 2x4s or 2x2s, and then I mount them across the sides and then mount the monitor to it or build something behind there. This is just a quick mount for most universal monitors. It'll be a universal mount. Just drop it in on an angle in the back, towards the back, and pop it in. It's a perfect fit for the inside there after everything's all squared up. If your machine's not square, it's not going to fit just right. You might have a little bit of gap or whatever. Either way, you can mount the monitor in there, and if you find that it's not flush with the front, this allows you to move it up and down so that you can have your monitor. Some people don't like a bezel, they just want to have the monitor from edge to edge. So in doing that, giving them the capability to do this allows somebody to be able to put that flush. Other than that, you can mount it back, you can put a bezel. You can go with our plexi option that allows, we give you a marquee cut plastic just for the exact size of the marquee up top, as well as the plastic for the front of your monitor. And like I was mentioning before, to dry fit, you dry fit the back door and all those things as well, and then your front console should just be able to dry fit and drop right on. There's a groove on the bottom and a mount for universal joysticks that you can buy either from us or from other companies. The holes are cut at a 1 1/8 inch width for Suzo Hap type buttons. And if you want to go with any sort of Sumitsu or anything like that, they may be a little bit smaller, but if you put that on request on any order from us, we'll actually make the hole smaller for you. We offer probably about 6 different layouts for the buttons. We can omit buttons, put holes on the side, that kind of a thing for special requests that no extra cost. You just basically have to tell us when you do place your order. All of these are cut to order. We don't cut a whole bunch up front just because, as I mentioned before, and I'll keep saying it again, is the edges are really delicate, so they will damage, so I don't want to have a bunch in stock that we're moving around and stuff. It takes us a couple hours to cut a machine, but usually as long as the machine is free, we can do that, but we give ourselves a week lead time for any cuts. We offer the colors is black, white, and we also offer like a maple wood grain and a cherry wood. But I'll move on to the other specifics that we're going to need to go here. So with this monitor mount, you're going to have to mount it on. We supply some L brackets that you would put in place on the edge, like so, on either side. Obviously, you got to make account for that. You'd probably put these on afterwards, where you adjust, draw your lines inside where you want your monitor to be, and then you would just screw these to hold it in place. There's 4 of them, so you get 2 for either side, and 8 screws. Everything's all in there. Now, you've probably been wondering throughout the video what certain holes are cut out for. I can show you straight through here. There's only 2, and I highly recommend if you buy one of our kits to buy the fan that goes with it. It's cut out to an exact 4-inch fan that we offer, as well as we offer an EMI filter / switch that allows you to plug in just a regular computer cable into it, so it's a quick release, quick disconnect off the back, and you know, you can get a 6-foot cable to go with that as well. But I highly recommend purchasing these 2 items from us when you buy the kit, just for ease of use. That's what it's made for. If you don't really care, you can always just stick a plug through there. It fits as well, and you can just leave this blank or whatever you want to do. You can put a plug in it, or at special requests, I'll just omit it on the cut if you don't want it. Other than that, your plexi options are the other ones available to you. All in all, in a nutshell, it probably took me about 25 minutes to do it through instruction and everything else. If you guys have any other questions or anything, feel free to email us directly. You can phone us, or you can just put a question up on the video underneath here and go from there. Thank you very much, and I hope it looks easy enough for you to take on. Take care and good luck.